Hey there, powerful soul. Welcome to my corner on these internet streets. Welcome. My name is Cassandra Austin McDonald. I am a mentor and a coach, and I have a little bit of a message to share with you all about how shifting your environment may be required for your expansion. And if you're tuning in, watching the replay, if you would type in hashtag replay, let me know that you're here. And then if you are tuning in live, let me know you're here live. But either way, I would love for you to speak when you enter my virtual room. I think it's a pleasant thing to do. It's no different than walking into a physical room. When you come into the virtual room, speak, let your presence be known so that we can connect. So I am sitting in a different space for this afternoon for working. And I'm in one of our community pool houses. And I was thinking about the importance of our environment when we are doing identity shifting and identity embodiment work. And identity work, hey there, Alice, how are you, my dear? Identity work is a pillar of the work that I do in my work as a mentor and a coach. And please share this live stream. I always forget to say that. If you know someone who would like to hear this, please share this. Identity work is a big piece of the puzzle in the work that I do in supporting women to expand their power so that you are creating the extraordinary life, relationships, impact, success that you desire and deserve. And I have found in this, okay, what's going on here? Okay, making sure that I'm not lost here. I have found in identity shifting work how pivotal our environment is to who we be. And I noticed that when I am in certain environments, how I feel. I notice when I'm around certain people, how I feel. And this really started to stand out for me in my earlier adult years. I started traveling at a young age. I was 12 or 13 years old when I started traveling for track and field. I was a track and field athlete all the way up through college. And I used to go to these track and field meets that were national track meets that were across the country. And so I was 12, 13 years old being sponsored by different companies and organizations so that I could travel each summer to go to these national track meets. And so I got my taste of new environments at a younger age where I started to notice how I felt in different environments. And that always stuck with me. And then when I was in college and I had gotten pregnant with my son at 19, when I was 20 and he was a baby, I took him with me to another country for an entire month. Yes, I did. We went to a whole different country for an entire month with one of my track teammates at the time. We went to Trinidad for 2 weeks and Tobago for 2 weeks to the islands. And again, I noticed how I felt. And so traveling was one of the ways I started to notice throughout my life how when I was in different environments, it shifted the way that I felt. However, when I was back in my hometown, in central Illinois where I used to live, and I was always around the same people and I was always around the same conversations and I was always around the same environments, I was starting to also notice how I was feeling. And I wasn't feeling like I had the room to expand. I wasn't feeling like I had space. Hey there, Chetta. I wasn't feeling like I had space to grow. I wasn't feeling like I could really step into the version of myself that I felt was calling me forward and calling me in. In fact, I was actually starting to feel stuck in this identity that everyone had known me as. And I really wanted to break free from that. I started this work years ago with spreading awareness around trauma and things like that. And I was starting to notice, like, I feel like there's more for me to do in this work. I feel like I want to do more. I want to be this expander, if you will. I want to help people expand their power and really create like extraordinary lives and relationships and impact and do things that don't make logical sense, but make sense in the spiritual world. And so for those of you who are my spiritual people, y'all know what I'm talking about. But I was feeling constricted. in my hometown, I was feeling like I couldn't expand. I couldn't emerge. Have any of y'all ever felt like that? Like you feel constricted. You feel like I feel like I'm stuck in a box. Like I can't move my arms. That's how I was feeling. And in 2019, when the Mister and I decided to relocate across the country to Florida, a huge part of that decision for me was because I finally wanted the freedom to expand into more of this expansive identity for myself that I knew was already within me. I knew was already available for me. I knew was calling me in and forward, but I was feeling really constricted where I was. And so this being in a new environment, what it did for me was it has really allowed me to step into this version of myself that I always knew deep down was who I was. But for so long, I was allowing the people that had known me forever and the interactions I was having with them and the encounters I was having with other people, I was allowing that to define myself. And so I wasn't really stepping forward and expanding into this greater version of myself. And it really took me leaving everyone and everything behind, my hometown, my family, everything that I had known and grown familiar with, and stepped into the unfamiliar so that I could really connect with who am I really? Who am I really? My power, my gifts, my calling, my talents, beyond what I had ever known before. And it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of bravery to do that. And I wanted to bring this conversation forward with you all because I find myself in that season of my life again as I've been navigating different spaces in business, where I'm currently in a business mastermind with some powerhouses, okay? Like super powerhouses, multimillionaires, women that are like killing it in the game. And again, I'm in this environment that's expanding me. It's allowing me to explore my edges. It's allowing me to notice where have I grown complacent in. It's allowing me to see my blind spots. It's allowing me to go deeper in my knowing of who I am. It's allowing me to up-level the way that I have envisioned my own life and my future and what I see for myself. But it took me being in a different environment for that to happen. And so when I think about different environments, I think about different locations, I think about different spaces, I think about different people, your surroundings, anything that can impact your perception, anything that can impact the way that you perceive the world, anything that can impact the way you perceive yourself. Because when you're in spaces and places and around people that are doing things that are expansive for you, it's not long before you start seeing yourself in that light. However, when you are around people who are not up to big things, and you're in environments that feel stifling, and you're in spaces and places that don't light you up, and you're in spaces and places that feel like they're constricting you, and they cause you to contract, and they cause you to not really like be bold, be big, be brave, be all of you, no matter what, unapologetically, time starts to catch up, and before you know it, you look around and you realize, my relationship isn't quite where I want it to be right now, because maybe you've been hanging around people who are complaining about their partner. Or you look up and you're like, I'm not really feeling lit up about my business, because you've been hanging around people who keep complaining about their business. Or you're like, I'm not really feeling my life, because you've been hanging around people who are complaining about their life. And so you have to notice the conversations that you're entertaining. You have to notice what's going in your gates, your ear gates. You have to notice, where are you at? Are you in spaces and places that feel good and expansive to you? Are you in spaces and places that cause you to play small, to stay complacent? Hey there, Trevelyn, how are you, my dear? Your environment, it's required most times for your expansion. And if you are the type of woman that I presume you to be, where you want the life, the relationship, the impact, the success, you're the type of woman that wants all of those things, it's going to require you to embody the identity of the woman who actually has it. One of the number one mistakes I see people make is they step into the doing in attempts to have it, especially in business. They say, just tell me what to do, just tell me the strategy. But the person behind the execution of that strategy is not in alignment with the way that you're thinking, with the way that you're feeling, with the way that you talk to yourself, with the way that you see yourself. And so it's not long before you start to feel like that strategy is not working because who you were behind the strategy wasn't working. I see this in relationships. One of the number one mistakes I see women make is they complain about their partner instead of prioritizing themselves. And they want to fix their partner. They want to change their partner. They want their partner to fix things. They want their partner to change. And yet they don't want to prioritize themselves, expand their own energy, turn on their own magnetism, elevate in the way that they're showing up in the room with their partner. When you shift into the doing, you rob yourself of the gift of what gets to happen, who you get to become when you focus on the being. An environment is such a big piece of that puzzle in identity shifting work. When we're looking at the rooms that we're in, the spaces that we're in, the people we're around, the conversations that we're entertaining, is it in alignment with the identity of the person who already has what you said that you wanted? You said you wanted this beautiful, intimate, connected relationship that feels good to you. You said that you wanted to create more impact and success in the work that you do. You said that you wanted to feel good about the work that you do, that you want to feel passionate again. You want to ignite your flame again. You want to feel turned on about what you're doing, like you feel like you're alive. However, if you are stuck in robotic mode, repetition, day in and day out, just checking boxes, just doing what needs to be done, not being mindful of your environment, the places, the spaces, and the people you're around, it's not long before you start to find yourself complaining, feeling dissatisfied, feeling discontent. Michelle says, exactly, being married almost 30 years, I had to work on me first, and my husband noticed it. That part, honey, listen, okay? That's what I always tell women I work with. Work on you, honey, and he'll listen. And I'll be honest with you all. This year will be the 9th year that Mr. and I have been together. And anytime we've had a snafu in our relationship, I've had my moments. I'm not perfect, okay? I've had my moments where, I got a little mouth on me. And I get to feeling like, oh, this ain't, on 10. I want it on 10. I don't like mediocre stuff, okay? I don't even want a mediocre relationship. And so if it feels mediocre, I'm like, this ain't it, because that's not what I signed up for. I have to check thyself. I have to check myself and ask myself, who were you being? Are you feeling magnetic? Are you feeling vibrant? Are you feeling expansive? Are you feeling sexy? Are you feeling passionate? Because if any of those answers for myself, to myself, are no, I have to work on that first before I go outside of myself looking to fix what's going on outside of myself before I address what's going on within myself. That's how powerful we are as women. We are so powerful that we can shift the dynamics of any room we enter just by being present. Our mere presence is enough. The issue is when we externalize our power. Hey there, Olivia. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see you here. My Matrix Mastermind sister. Anytime we externalize our power, meaning we put our power outside of ourselves, in our relationship, in our business, in our life, in our circumstances, in our encounters, with whatever, we rob ourselves of our own power, connecting to our own power, taking radical self-responsibility for ourselves, how we're showing up. The easy thing to do is to blame the relationship, to blame the business. I see people blaming social media, people talking about the algorithm and all that stuff. We have to be the ones that are checking thyself. It always starts with self. And so when we are noticing that something doesn't feel good in your life, in your relationship, in your business, or just with you, ask yourself, where's my environment? You know, I got out of our place and I came into a new environment today because I was like, let me shift my environment. Let me shift my state. Let me shift the room I'm in. Let me shift the conversations I'm having. When you notice there's things happening in your business, are you putting yourself in the room with other people that are having expansive conversations so you can expand your own perception? You can expand your own way of thinking. You can expand your own energy. We dwell too long in the spaces and places and conversations that don't even serve us well. For what? She says, so true, so true, so true. Women have so much power they don't use, don't know they have it, or know how to use it. Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, because if you don't know, you're going to know, okay? And if you want to know and you want to wake up to that knowing, or you want to remember that knowing, then I'm here for you to support you in that. But, you know, I wanted to come here and share what has come through for me about the importance of our environment, because there's been so many times in my life where me shifting my environment shifted me. Shifting my location, shifting the spaces, shifting the room, shifting the people, even being away from my own family. And I know that that's not a popular thing to say. But sometimes you have to separate yourself from the familiar, go into the unfamiliar just to become who you were really meant to be. We hear that story with Christ. Christ was not welcome in his hometown. Most prophets are not welcome in their hometown. That doesn't stop them from having big work to do on this planet. And so sometimes you got to say, I got to separate myself from my family for a little while. And it's not easy to do, and you may hear some flack about it, but this is where you have to think about the analogy on the airplane where you got to put the gas mask on yourself first, save yourself first. You can't help anyone. You can't support anyone. You can't be there for anyone if you're not fully in your own power. And that was something I had realized. And so for me, making the decision to relocate across the country and to be away from my family, and for some, I haven't had contact with some of them for a while because I needed that time of separation and solitude to realign and get myself in a space where I felt like I could hold my power no matter what room I was in. Because how many of you shift who you be depending on who you're talking to? When you're talking to your mom, you turn back into a little girl again. When you're talking to this person, you're all high and mighty. And when you're in this room, you shrink a little bit. Like, to me, the name of the game is, can we hold our power despite the room we're in? And to me, that is the beautiful place to be with ourselves. That is something I have been deepening with my own self. See you soon, Queen. Can we hold our power in any room we're in? And I believe it starts with shifting your environment, going to new places, being in new rooms, being in new spaces, and just seeing who are you being in these different spaces and places. Notice who you're being when you're interacting with different people. Notice who you're being when you're having conversations with different people. Just notice it. And if you notice that you desire to be more unleashed, to be more in your power, to show up and be your most expansive, authentic self, no matter what space you're in, no matter what conversation you're having, no matter what room you're in, you're able to start holding your power more, then I'd love to connect with you. You can private message me and I can share with you what I have coming up. I have a few things going on right now in my coaching world. Return to Her, we're on week 1 of 6 this week. This week we talked about reclaiming all parts of you. Powerful conversation. We have our Q&A call tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a whole new woman coaching and mentorship, and that is all about the life, the love, the impact, the legacy. And so that's something you'll have to private message me about. And then I just launched a new membership, Sacred Self Society, which is a beautiful membership where you get access to pre-recorded master classes and live monthly healing activations with me using my framework that includes different modalities to clear any blocks or things like that that are showing up that are actually preventing you from being in your power. So thank you for being here. If you know someone who could benefit from this live stream, or they may be interested in what I shared, please share this. That would mean a lot to me. And I challenge you, go out there and shift your environment. Go somewhere new today. Go somewhere you've never been. Go have a conversation with someone you've never had a conversation with, a new person. Go shift your state. Okay? And I'll talk with you soon. Take care now.